Hi, I'm CL Backstrom, and I'm here to teach you about a process that I've been using and had learned over 10 years ago, but through the Four Winds Society, an energy medicine school, and brings in medicine traditions from both of the Americas. So what I was told this is called is a sand painting, and I've seen many of these in the country of Peru. They can change, they work kind of on a little bit of a symbolic level, but they also work with your soul, and they can work very effectively on a transpersonal level as well, affecting parts of our life that don't seem to be so connected to the right here and now, perhaps connected to past lives we've had, or even connected to cultural events, or connected to exchanges or stuck exchanges between ourselves and other people. I found them very, very effective, and I wanted to show you a little bit about them. These can be frequently created outdoors, but you can also create something indoors. What I'm going to demonstrate today, I'm going to do indoors, and you could do them. Also, you could do it in a kind of more of a drawing fashion, a kind of painting or coloring or sketching. But I'm going to do one that's really very, very symbolic today for you, and I can really find them to be very, very powerful. What this is a method for you getting in touch with something in your life that isn't moving forward in ways that feel productive, healthy, expansive, and bringing those issues to mind in a very conscious, present way. Another couple of things about these sand paintings is that they're done over a period of a few days, typically 3 days, and they're typically made relatively small, and that they do represent not your expanded life of consciousness, but your personal embodied life, which isn't that big. It might have far-reaching implications, but your life itself is contained to maybe 6 feet tall, 150, 250 pounds. I mean, there's some relative size here that's rather small. So you want your sand painting to be relatively small as well. If you were to do it outside, a circular shape, the diameter of maybe 3 or 4 feet is really sufficient. And it can actually be feel more productive, to not feel like your life is so scattered. So you create some kind of a container. Now, if you're outdoors, you'll probably create that container maybe with stones you find outdoors, or maybe there's some twigs that you put in a circular shape, or some leaves that you put in a circular shape, some way to contain this particular expression. And then you start to find objects that you might feel will symbolize the issue that you're working with. And what I love about this is these objects don't really have to bear very much resemblance, literal resemblance to what the issue you're working on. Your soul will know what they make when you assign the significance to it. So for instance, I'm choosing to work on my kind of precious feelings towards my sister who lives 2,000 miles away, and I don't get to see her that much. And I'm just a little worried about her and our connection. So I might, for instance, pick a stone. I'm going to use stones in mine. Just again, I'm not going to use, I could use a picture of her, but we can just use a stone. And so for me, my sister is kind of a bright, shiny light in my life. So I'm having a stone that represents the bright light that she is. And then what I'll do is I'll connect with her inside of me. And I'll blow the feeling sense or essence of her into this stone. My soul will remember that this stone represents her and all that she means to me. And then what I'll do is I'll place this stone in this kind of mandala, or this circle that I've created. And now I might pick another stone that represents me. I have, like I said, a large amount of stones here, but if you're outside, it could be a stick, it could be a leaf, a stone that's outside. It's okay. You could use actually more symbolic objects, but it's not really necessary. So I picked another stone to represent me. And I'll again blow into that stone my essence. And then I'll place this into the sand painting as well. And now we're 2,000 miles apart, my sister and I, and we're both aging. And so I no longer take for granted that I have the same intimate access to her I did when I was little. And so I'm starting to just, it feels right here. I'll blow into this one. There feels like a distance between us. I don't know so much that I would call it an emotional distance, but that physical distance is hard for me. And so I'm also taking some stones to represent symbolically this distance that I feel is there between the two of us. Just looking for stones that might represent this distance in some way or another. Now, I might also want to put into my sand painting some of the other elements, like the sand in this one. Again, you don't have to have a sand tray. It could be outside, but whatever is the base of it can represent the ground, the element of earth. You might also want to put the element of fire into your sand painting temporarily, of course. You could just even bring the fire energy. Fire is a very rapid way of transforming into the sand painting, or maybe even leave that fire in there for a short period of time. You could also bring the element of water into your sand painting. This is just a little water, Florida water or flower scented water that I happen to have. And I might bring a little bit of that water into this mandala as well, this painting as well. And then I might pause for a moment and see, is there anything more that I need to put into this? I might look at my stones or what my surroundings, see what we need to do. Oh, there I find a feather. Maybe there needs to be some way that I could fly to her in spirit. What else do I have? Maybe there's a little way that I have this crystal. Maybe there's some way we can have a clear communication between the two of us. And then I just simply let myself sit with this for a time, what this represents to me. And then when I've sat with it for a few minutes, just to feel the impact that this has, I just sit with it for a little while, and then I just leave it be. I let this particular configuration of symbols and earth and the feather and the candle and everything do what it needs to do. So as you can see, you can create a sand painting in just as few as a few minutes. If you'd like to spend more time with it, that's okay. And maybe you put some more things that might represent to you. Be a little more representational, but it doesn't have to be. And then what you will do with the sand painting is the next day, you'll come back to sit with it again. Maybe just for 5 minutes, just to sit with it and see, is there anything more that you need to bring into the sand painting? Is there anything you need to remove from it? Is there any way that you need to reconfigure what you have here? And I'll just stop in for a moment and pause with this. And as I'm pausing, I'm kind of looking around to see what should I be doing here? I'm going to move my feather just a little bit. And I think I'm just going to make myself some kind of little bridge. Now I just happen to have some little sparkly stones. That's just what I have. And I'm being attracted to them. And I'm letting myself be attracted to these stones. Shiny, they've gone through a tumbler. In fact, maybe I'm going to take one of these walls away a little bit. It doesn't seem to be, I won't take it away completely. It's been serving me, but I'll put it a little farther away. What about these little better bridge that I'm creating between me and my sister? And I'll just sit with that. It may be that I did nothing more to the sand painting. It didn't seem to need to be changed in any way. But sometimes it'll look like, let's make a little change to it. Let's sit with that change for a little bit of time. And that's the next day. And just, again, a few more minutes with the sand painting, making any adjustments that feel like they need to be made, sitting with it, taking it in. What do I need to do? And just using intuition, just following how it feels like your heart needs to go. And then we let it sit in the sand or outdoors or on your table, wherever you've created this little symbolic representation. Now we wait another 24 hours or so, and then we come and look at it again. And we decide, we just sit with it and see, is there anything else that needs to be changed or removed? And in this case, I'm feeling a sense to take even another one of these barrier stones away. Yeah, even two of them. That's just a feeling I want to do. And there's something in me that wants me to create more of a direct link between me and my sister. Again, just doing some play, bringing us closer together. Bringing us closer together. And maybe what had once upon a time felt more like it was a wall between us, maybe now it feels more like a support. Each of us have a support. I sit with it for a little while, see what kind of thoughts come up for me, what kind of emotions come up for me, what kind of memories come up to me. Like, what is this connected to? I'm remembering times when we were young together. And I just let all of that wash over me. Now, sand paintings have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So they will last for 3 days. If you feel to have your sand painting last a couple more days, that's okay too. Just continue to, and maybe again, no changes, just sitting with it, taking in, letting it work on the level of the soul and on the transpersonal level. I don't know how this might be impacting my sister today, but just trust in some way. On a transpersonal level, this soul work is reaching her as well. I have just be curious. I just be open. This is not trying to produce any shifts or changes in her, just to strengthen my longing or acknowledge my longing to feel closer to her. Now, when it feels like your sand painting has accomplished something, again, always 3 days, maybe you'll keep it going for another couple of days, but the last day, after making any changes to it with it, sitting with it for a few minutes, you'll simply take the elements away. And if you were outdoors, you'll just let those leaves and stuff scatter back to the winds, and I'll just let this be done. But again, with some kind of feeling of reverence, no speed has to happen, maybe some appreciation. If you've done your sand painting on paper, maybe drawn it or it's sketched it or scribbled something, that's totally okay. I do have an example of a sand painting that I did that was drawn with cut crayons or something like that. And I did it over 3 days, and it might not be so obvious if you saw it, but they actually started off with a base, and then the second day another element came into it. I cut it out. I colored it someplace else, cut it out, and put it on top. And then another element came in on the third day. So it was kind of a collaged example of this energetic work, symbolic work. And then on the third day, if it's paper, we would want to burn it would be a very effective, or we could bury it, something like that, but just honor it like it had a beautiful life of its own, and we're giving it back to the elements in some way. So that can be a way that you can complete a sand painting that's done on paper. If you used objects in your house that were symbolic, like a picture of somebody, maybe you put a watch in it to represent that you think time is passing by too quickly. You take those elements out that are more representational and put them back where they belong. So I hope you give this a try at some point in time. I find them to be surprisingly effective. Maybe not finding huge changes externally, but shifts inside of me that allow me to see the situation with new eyes and a new perspective, and also sometimes shifts outside as well. So thank you for exploring with me this idea of creating a sand painting. Again, just 5 minutes of your time over a period of 3 days each day. A lot of change can happen. Thank you.